Hello, coaches. Welcome back to another episode of Coach Better Spotlight. In today's episode, we're chatting with Melissa Lim, Learning, Teaching, and Technology Specialist in Portland Public Schools. Melissa shares her story of applying to be a Google Certified Innovator and her personal professional goal of creating a local education technology community with more educators of color. We talk about the importance of diversity within the EdTech field and the power of having a mentor for all educators. Watch to learn about how you can connect with other educators of color through Melissa's project. If you enjoy any part of this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more conversations like this, please subscribe to our channel and click the notifications bell to find out every time we release a new episode. Remember, you can also listen to the full Coach Better episode wherever you get your podcasts. We are passionate about the impact coaching can have on student learning, school culture, and teacher professional growth, and we want to help you coach better. We've got some great opportunities for more learning after today's conversation, so stick around all the way to the end. All right, welcome back to another episode of Coach Better. Today I am here with Melissa Lim, Learning, Teaching, and Technology Specialist in the Portland, Oregon area. Melissa, can you tell us a little bit about your current job and your education experience?
Yes, so I started teaching in an elementary classroom approximately, I would say 25 years ago, and I started teaching in Vancouver, Washington, which is just right across the river from Portland. And it was a great experience coming out of a master's in elementary ed program, just because everything that I learned in my program was being implemented at the school that I was teaching at. So it was really, really good experience. After about 6 years there, I ended up transferring to Portland Public Schools, where I currently work, because I was tired of commuting. And the job that I took after I left the classroom, I actually started teaching first in Portland, and then I left halfway through and took what's commonly known as a teacher on special assignment job TOSA job in education technology. And so since I took that job, I've had some version of that job for the last almost 20 years. And so I have worked out of curriculum and instruction. I have worked out of the IT department. I have worked out of both departments at the same time. And currently I am full-time in the IT department, which is really great in my opinion, because there's often a disconnect between IT departments and what happens in the classroom. And so I get to advocate and try to influence a lot of those decisions, or bring that perspective of what it's like in terms of IT initiatives, what it would be like for a teacher in a classroom. And
Awesome.
So a lot of my work is advocacy, but then also I do a lot of training in terms of using technology tools, and then sitting on advisory committees and groups to help bring that perspective of a teacher to whatever.
Looking at your school year this year, what is something that you're really excited about for this academic year?
So I would say that it doesn't necessarily have to do with my work in the district, but I was selected as a Google Certified Innovator in November. And the thing that I think is sort of cool is that it was probably the 5th time that I applied. And so it was really a lesson in persistence. And
yes.
I mean, I don't necessarily love creating videos of myself. And so for the application process, you have to create a video. And so I did create one, but I did voiceover, but it wasn't me, like pictures of me or video of me in actually captured. So I did learn a lot in terms of the application process, what are they looking for? And I think the other thing that I really like about it is that it's a year-long professional learning opportunity for myself and to build my skills and try to solve a challenge of practice that I'm facing that does directly affect my work. And so I'm pretty excited about that because I know people that have gone through that process early on when Google started it, which was, I think, almost 10 years ago. And it has really evolved into this really well thought out professional development program for educators.
Cool.
And so, yeah. And so my challenge was creating, or not creating, but figuring out how do I create a community, a local education technology community with more educators of color? Because as I have created this professional learning network around me, I am oftentimes the only person of color, and I don't understand why there aren't more educators of color in the education technology space locally.
Oh, that is so cool. Okay, so tell me more about that. Like, yeah, where are you starting? What's your first step? That sounds amazing.
So the first step was when you go through this process at the academy, you have to go through this design thinking process, and you're going through all these iterations of what direction is my project going to go in. And so you also get a mentor for the year, which is amazing. And you meet with the mentor every month, and you go through some mentor-mentee exercises around goal setting, which is really nice because I haven't ever formally done that. So I feel like that will help me when I'm doing some coaching as well as just being the mentee. And so working with my mentor, I realized what I wanted to do first was just create an online space that was a directory of people, whether you lived in Portland, Oregon, or somewhere else across the globe, that once you'd submitted a directory post, then you would be added to the directory, and then people could see who is in this directory, and it shows in the form that people fill out when they want to join. It asks what your strengths and areas of interest are, and then so that's all listed in the directory, and people can look at it and then say, oh, well, maybe I need some help with Genius Hour or 20% time. I'm going to see if there's anyone in the directory that has those strengths or areas of interest, and I can contact that person. So that was one part. Another part was just allowing educators of color to have a space to tell their stories about why they got involved in education. So that's another part of the website. And part of that, the site, is also that I really want to come at it from giving educators of color a space to learn about technology, because I don't know if that's something I feel like I would want that. And so I'm assuming that other people would feel like they would want to participate in a group where they could just learn and talk and connect with other educators of color. And my focus was on professional learning, and so that's why I had the bent of a community that would get together and learn.
How cool. I think this is amazing. I have been having a couple conversations with people in the Coach Better podcast, and then also in my personal life, about just diversity and making sure that all of our students and our colleagues see themselves represented in the people that we have an opportunity to learn from and with. And I think this is such a great environment that you're trying to create for people who may not be well represented, particularly in the education technology space, because I agree with you wholeheartedly. Even in international schools, we see the same kind of breakdown of it's, mostly white men. So then, the first step was like trying to get women in there, and okay, now there's more women, we're seeing more women. Okay, now how can we get other diverse elements as part of this group? So I think having this as your like personal professional goal is so exciting and so relevant. And I wonder, my first thought is, how do you find out what educators of color want in terms of their own professional growth to be part of something like this? Because as a business owner, one of the things that is really important is to have some market research, right? So
Right.
how would you even go about doing that? Because you're identifying them based on their ethnic, cultural background. Can you even do that? Can you even, like, how do you even find that out?
So I was hoping to leverage an administrators of color listserv in my district. So
got it.
we did have a group that was meeting, an administrators of color group. So whether you were an administrator in a building or you held some kind of position at the central office, you could participate. And so that group has sort of stagnated and has just been put on hold during this change in leadership. And so I am trying to find out who owns that list so that I can send out some communication. And then I've also just made some connections within my PLN in other districts. And so I've been reaching out to them and just sending the link to my website, and then hoping that when I'm ready to set up a meeting or some kind of informal meetup, that I can just send it out to these different channels and hope some people want to participate and respond.
How cool. And for sure, we'll include the link to your website in the show notes of this too, so we can hopefully maybe reach some more people.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And
that
it's
would be great
to hear about the Google Innovator process too, because I'm going to tell you a little bit about something that I'm doing because I think it's relevant. That's exactly the model that we use for the Coach Microcredential program. It's an academic year-long program, and you have a mentor and you set a personal goal, and the mentor helps you reach the goal. So obviously hearing from our participants, they have thought it's great, but then hearing from you in a different format, that having that mentor and having a mentor for a year and how valuable that is to help you move forward on your goals. It's important, I think, for educators to have the opportunity to work with someone who really genuinely cares about what their professional goal is. Not every school has an instructional coach. Not every teacher has a peer leader or a mentor within their building to help support them. And I wish that more educators could have the opportunity to have someone who is like that sounding board, that person who has other ideas, the person who can listen to what your challenges are and kind of help you strategize about what's most important. Just such a valuable process.
Yeah, I agree. And I've never been in that kind of relationship aside from probably student teaching, where you have someone who's in that role. And I like it. It's valuable to get that feedback and hear thoughts from somebody else.
I mean, who doesn't want someone who cares about them and their success to give them genuine time and interest? Like, it's hard for me to imagine that someone would not want that, right? But I think if you've never had it or you don't have the opportunity to have it, you don't realize how great it is. And so I'm glad to hear that is so powerful for you too.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to check out our premium facilitated online courses. We only offer them once a year, and early bird registration is open right now. We have 13 amazing courses you can choose from. Each course is 8 weeks long and goes in depth into a focused topic and includes our best content to take your learning to the next level. Check out all the options in the link below. Courses run from October 7th to December 1st, 2019, and we won't run them again till next year, so don't miss it.
If you've enjoyed any part of this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more great conversations about coaching with inspiring educators from around the world, subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the notifications bell to find out every time we release a new episode. To hear the full-length conversation, subscribe to the Coach Better podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
And if you're looking for even more resources to help you coach better, head over to edurolearning.com/coachbetter to explore over 20 online courses designed by coaches for coaches. Catch us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Eduro Learning to connect with us. See you next week on Coach Better Spotlight.